You've seen it before, or maybe you've been it. A person everyone describes as calm, rational, even kind, suddenly erupts. Not irritation, not frustration. Something deeper, sharper, almost foreign. Where did that come from? Because it didn't feel random. It felt ancient, like something had been waiting. What if that outburst wasn't a mistake, not a loss of control, but a moment of truth? What if there is a part of you, quiet, hidden, carefully buried, that lives just beneath your personality, watching, waiting, and sometimes taking over? Tonight, we're going to meet it. At the beginning of the 20th century, psychology had a rising star. His name was Carl Jung. He was brilliant, precise, and for a time, he was the chosen successor of Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis. Freud believed human behavior was driven largely by repressed sexual desires. Jung agreed, at first. But something didn't sit right. Jung noticed something deeper. Patients weren't just repressing desire. They were repressing entire parts of themselves. Traits they feared, impulses they judged, potentials they never allowed to exist. This disagreement didn't just end a friendship. It shattered Jung's world. He entered a period he later described as a confrontation with his own unconscious, a descent into his inner darkness. And there, he discovered something that would define his life's work, a hidden dimension of the psyche, not evil, not good, but profoundly human. He called it the shadow. The shadow isn't just your bad side. It's everything you refuse to recognize as you. And it has 4 core components. 1. Repressed desires. These are the impulses you've learned to suppress. Anger, envy, lust, ambition. A person who prides themselves on being nice may secretly carry intense aggression, not because they're broken, but because they've never allowed themselves to feel it consciously. 2. Unacknowledged strengths. The shadow doesn't just hold darkness. It holds your power. Confidence, you were taught, is arrogance. Creativity dismissed as impractical. Leadership suppressed to avoid attention. Sometimes, what you envy in others is a strength you buried in yourself. 3. Projected traits. This is where it becomes dangerous. You don't see your shadow directly. You see it in other people. The person you call arrogant may reflect your own denied pride. The one you label selfish may carry the boundaries you never learned to set. 4. Unconscious complexes. These are emotional patterns formed early in life. Moments of shame, fear, rejection. They don't disappear. They organize your reactions from behind the curtain. A simple comment becomes an attack. A delay becomes abandonment. Not because of the present, but because of something unfinished in the past. If the shadow remains unconscious, it doesn't stay quiet. It acts. Modern psychology doesn't always use Jung's language, but it confirms his insight. Unprocessed emotion doesn't disappear. It leaks. Pattern 1. Projection. Studies in social cognition show we attribute unwanted traits outward. It's easier to judge than to recognize. So we build enemies to avoid meeting ourselves. Pattern 2. Emotional flooding. Neuroscience calls it amygdala hijack, a sudden surge of emotion that overrides rational thought. But Jung would say, this isn't random, it's the shadow breaking through. Pattern 3. Creative blocks. You want to create, to speak, to build something meaningful, but something stops you. Not laziness, fear of being seen, and fear of what might come out if you truly express yourself. The shadow doesn't just hide your darkness, it guards your potential. Jung didn't believe the shadow should be eliminated. He believed it must be integrated, not controlled, not suppressed, but understood. 1. Journaling, radical honesty. Not polite journaling, not curated thoughts. Write what you shouldn't say. Jealousy, resentment, petty thoughts. Jung believed that what you refuse to write is exactly what you need to face. 2. Active imagination. Jung would sit and allow inner images to speak. Not analyzing, not controlling, engaging with them, almost like a dialogue with another personality. Because in a way, it is. 3. Dream analysis. Dreams are the shadow's language, symbols, distortions, emotional truths. Jung didn't treat dreams as random. He saw them as messages from the parts of you refuse to hear. Integration isn't comfortable, but it's transformative, because when you see your shadow clearly, it stops controlling you from the dark. Jung once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." So tonight, when something in you feels too intense, too irrational, too unlike you, don't look away, look closer. Because the part of you they never see might be the part that finally makes you whole.